As an adult and as a person that is trying to live right, and what I mean by living right is I want to live in truth. I don't want to live in deception. I don't want to live in fairy tale land. I don't want to live a life that is not what I truly am living, right? I came to y'all and I told y'all my journey towards trying to take back custody of my children. What I didn't tell y'all is something that was asked to me by my lawyer and by my mother. And I for the life of me, I can't answer the question. The question was, why did you wait so long to act? If he has been doing this for years to you, why haven't you go and take the steps to get custody of your children before now? It's kind of like you can see somebody as being a horrible human being, just not a good person. And when you have been dealing with them for an X amount of years, what everybody else sees, you're blind to, because it's not something that you see when you look at that person, because you remember all the good times. You remember what the struggles were that y'all went through together, and you thinking that this person is not what everybody think they are because you know them, you have intimate knowledge of them, you lived with them for so long, right? In your core, you would think because you went through all of these things with this one person, that because y'all share these things in common, that you automatically know that person. And that's where I messed up. Everything is always gonna be good until it's not. You don't know the true nature of a person until you have had to go through things with them. And in all honesty, they might not even know who they are because they've never been through that type of test before. We can make excuses for why we are with somebody, but at the end of the day, that person is who they are, and how other people view them isn't that much off than what they truly are. I didn't think that I was dealing with somebody that would take me through all of this and just be petty. I'll tell you how the court date went. From start to finish, I'm going to tell y'all exactly what happened, right? When we got into court, I was in court via Zoom. My mom got to the courthouse first. She got there at 8 o'clock. Court didn't start till 9. She got there at 8. She called me and woke me up. I got ready for court. We were sitting in there for a while, and then after about an hour, my mom called me, and she was just like, they told me we wouldn't be able to go back there with y'all. I can't be there. And she was just like, and he has his whatever, he has his companion with him, right? They was in there back and forth passing notes. And when the judge called my name, I couldn't get unmuted fast enough before my mom had raised her hand and said, I'm here on the behalf of my daughter. They immediately started saying, that's not her. She can't come in here for her or whatever. Mind you, I was in there. I was there. So he started off ugly. You know what I'm saying? 2 or 3 hours go by. We got called into chambers so that we can come up with a resolution for our custody issues. From jump, they asked me what I wanted. I told them I wanted joint custody, right? I'm not going to be overly ambitious and be like, I want full custody of my children, because honestly speaking, they've been living their whole lives. And to get them to uproot and move to a whole nother city, a whole nother state that is over 1,000 miles from where they are from, I'm not going to do that. It'll be selfish of me, right? I just want joint custody. From jump, they explained to us what it mean to have joint custody of a child. Basically, the domiciliary or the domicile parent is the one that makes the decisions. However, that parent has to communicate with the other parent on all major decisions in regards to the children. When he heard that, I don't agree with that. They explained that to us. From the inception of the conversation, this man was combative. Why do I have to explain to her what's going on with the children's school or when I want to make decisions? I don't agree with that. The lady was like, the hearing officer was like, it doesn't matter if you agree, that's what the law is. That's how we started off. Then we started talking about what joint custody is. I said that I told him everything that I wanted. I said I want 1 weekend a month. I want half of every holiday if it's an extended holiday. So if they're out of school for more than a few days, I want part of that time. I want them to come. I want them to fly out here and I will fly there every month. He didn't want to do that. What if they have this, or what if that, or this, that, and the third, right? He didn't agree with nothing. He just kept on beating it down. Like, why do I have to do this? Or why do I have to do that? Just started bringing up things that had nothing to do with custody. Like the fact that I wanted his benefits. What does that have to do with custody court? Sir. Then he told them basically she only made attempts to see them once a year. I don't think that is fair that she gets once a month. Well, what if we plan a trip or something? It doesn't matter. She only have a few days with them. Plan the trip around it. You have ample enough time to schedule something around the time that she's supposed to be seeing the girls. Well, what if we want to go on vacation for the holidays? Well, you're going to have to start your vacation on the days that you have them. Well, she smokes weed in front of the girls, even though weed is legal in California. I said, I've never smoked weed in front of my children. You're lying. So then we come up with an agreement for half of each holiday for me coming out there. When it got to be that they started discussing travel for the girls for when I want them to come here, he was like, that's going to be on her. She got to pay for that. So when I said, that's fine, I'll pay for travel for the girls, right? The lady was like, well, they'll probably give you a break on child support at that time because you've already covered their travel. He was like, for what? What she need a break on child support for? For what? She don't need no break on child support. That's usually how it works, sir. And then we made our agreements for the specific details of how our custody arrangement is going to be. He agrees to everything. We get in front of the judge. We have to swear under oath that we understand that even though we set this, that it's legally bounding now, and if you don't follow the agreement, you will be held in contempt of court, basically, right? So we get in front of the judge, agree to everything, and then he's like, wait, hold on, judge. I know we didn't speak about this in chambers, but I got another question. She has 3 roommates. She has 2 roommates. She doesn't have adequate place for them to sleep. I said, yes, I have 2 other roommates. I have an adequate place for them to sleep. Well, I don't know that to be true. So we're going to have to figure that part out first, because I don't want them staying there. They're not going to have no sleep. I said, if you want to, at your expense, and get someone from the court to come to my apartment, to see my apartment, to see how big of a space I have, and that I have enough room for my children to be there, we can do that. Judge was like, y'all can't come up to an agreement about this, or we're going to have another hearing. I was like, he was like, we're going to have a hearing then. I was like, he's like, no, instead of doing that, I'm going to send y'all back into chambers. Y'all going to talk this back out with the hearing officer, or we'll just have to have another hearing. So we go back into the chambers. He was like, I don't believe she has anywhere for my kids to sleep at, because she got 2 other roommates. So I said, would you like to see what my room? Since we're on camera now, you can look at it. Or would the hearing officer like to see it? And he didn't want to look. So she was like, yeah, I'll look. And he was like, well, if you feel like it's adequate, then that's fine. She looked at it. She's like, well, she has a queen size bed and a sofa in her room. Pretty sure that either she could sleep on a sofa or the kids could sleep on the sofa, and then the kids could sleep in the bed. There is room. So then I said, I think that is funny that you bring up the fact that I have 2 roommates, who, by the way, they both have their own rooms that are huge. One even has a bathroom. But you're not bringing up the fact that you have 12 children in a 3-bedroom house. 12 children in a 3-bedroom house. But they all have beds. It don't matter if they all have beds. You squeezing 12 children into a 3-bedroom house. Did I come here saying, hey, I don't think that's right? No. I let you be with that. So then I said, I want my children to have therapy. I think therapy is necessary. But he would not agree to therapy because he wants to be in the therapy sessions with the girls. I don't want that. I want them to go in for examination with a therapist. And if the therapist says that they need extra whatever, he has to abide by it. I will pay for it. I don't want them in therapy. Why do I have to do... It's like he fought me on every single thing. Because he wants me to have nothing. For the life of me, I don't understand how a person can cheat on you for the entirety of your relationship, leave you for another woman, and then act like you scorn them. It makes no sense to me. But what does make sense is if he's with a woman that has 7 different kids, 9 kids, by 7 baby daddies, that goes through this process frequently because she likes to mess with married men and get pregnant by them, and then they don't want nothing to do with her or the baby. This makes sense because now you're taking her tactics as your own. You are actually portraying feminine tendencies, and it's so unbecoming of a man because a man knows that a daughter needs her mother, but a bitch don't. That's the difference between a man and a bitch. But that's the end of it, y'all. I got joint custody of my children, and that's all I wanted. End of story. Thank you for watching and listening. Y'all be easy and stay dangerous, my nigga.